Hey, we got a special guest celebrity coming up right now. Y'all gonna want to stop and take a look. It's gonna be a great conversation. For those of you that follow the automotive aftermarket, this guy's legendary. For those of you that follow the tattoo industry, this guy's even more legendary. There's nobody bigger than Mr. Cartoon, and I just came from the Rockford Fosgate booth. He was kind enough to join me up on stage, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so we just came from the Rockford booth. Before we even get into it, man, I just want to talk. We were talking over there a little bit. Fun conversation about your inspiration for all that you do. Talking about music, we were talking about tattoo, we were talking about everything in the auto industry, man. But the heart of it is Los Angeles and being an Angelino. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the murals on the ice cream truck that's being displayed in the Rockford Fosgate booth, it's a murals of fantasy, you know what I mean? And yes, it's a mirror to Los Angeles, but it also includes, the rest of the U.S., you know what I'm saying? The Southwest especially, like Las Vegas, Texas, Arizona. So it's really including a lot of the lowrider lifestyle, but we have a wider range taste for cars, we like old school Chevys, different type, from Camaros to, SS Monte Carlos to traditional lowriders.
Yeah, and that ice cream truck, it's just so wild, right? And I asked you, I said, hey, take you a month, 2 months to do this? You kind of laughed.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. The truck was actually a client's vehicle, and he asked me how long it was going to take, and I said, I'll knock it out in about 3 weeks. And about 3 years later, I was like, man, I think it's going to take some more time. So it's very hard because it's all done in urethanes and candies, and you're using the paint that the actual vehicle is painted in. So even that alone is a lost art, doing murals on automotive cars and Harleys and different vehicles. For race cars, they would airbrush the headlights on them because they needed them to be light.
Yeah.
But they wanted to have a headlight. So, it came from there.
I want to talk a little bit about your history, right? Because, you wake up one day and all of a sudden, boom, you are the top of your game. But where did it start?
It's a real slow process. Car murals and automotive art is not as developed as, say, the music industry. So, growing up in auto body shops, I fell in love with it. And I fell in love with tattoo culture. So I mixed them together, and I see that, even in barber culture, all these things, they tie into each other. So it's been a slow grind, of just small wins here and there, that stack up, and eventually when social media hit, it started to expand.
I think that's what's amazing, right? Is that you look at life differently, but when you look at art, you're seeing something that the majority of people cannot see. You see something that you can turn into something incredibly powerful, a message. When I look at the ice cream truck, I think about, and I grew up in Southern California, right? I didn't grow up in the lowrider community,
right?
But I did grow up off-roading, motorcycling, and just the love of cars, and I think that's the one unifying thing. Then enter music, enter rap. Rap crosses all generations. It crosses all nationalities. It crosses everyone. And if you come out of the LA market, you get it. You totally love it. And you see that in your artwork. With your inspiration for what you do, what do you do next? Where do you go? You've done it all.
Yeah, you're always thinking about where can I take this? How can it, transform? How could it evolve? And, going into products for people. We just doing a lot of merch for the Dodgers, and we actually did a lot of merch for the Blue Jays. So we do MLB, we're doing NFL. I have my own masks. Originally they were a Halloween mask, and we ended up bringing them more into the sports world too. So we're doing one for LAFC, the LA Kings. So it's really about jumping into sports and revamping a lot of the artwork. Prior to us, a bunch of old timers in there doing that stuff. So now that we're street artists are coming in, we're starting to disrupt the industry and make our RC toys and make different type of electronics and stuff.
Hey, I know we're going to agree on a lot of things in the automotive culture. I'm so glad you said the Toronto Blue Jays because, man, I was pulling for them. And I'm a Californian, but I'm a San Francisco Giants fan. So I was really pulling for the Blue Jays. So let's talk about your relationship with Rockford Fosgate because there are a lot of influencers in the industry, they fly by night. But you've
Sure.
been with Rockford for a long time.
Yeah, Rockford Fosgate understands us, and they understand, the world, from off-road vehicles to 4x trucks to the lowrider industry. So they've been sponsoring our cars, and they know we like clarity and we like bass in our music, and we don't have to convince them; they already get it.
How many speakers inside the milk truck?
Well, it's over 25 speakers. You got two 15s in there, half a dozen 6x9s, and speakers underneath, up top. It's crazy, but it's still like really clear. And the ice cream truck kind of got inspired from the movie Friday. And Big Worm and his ride. So my client wanted to beat him, so I think we might have got there.
Man, I do think you got there. All right, as we get to wrap it up, what is your most memorable moment when you think about everything that you've done? Is there a moment that sticks out where you went, what, this was it?
Well, I got to tell you, each one turns out the next. When I designed multiple shoes for Nike, I thought that was as good as it gets. Tattooing Eminem. These are different plateaus you get into life, but seeing my ice cream truck here on the floor with the remote control car next to it, that's hard to beat.
All right, so talk about that remote control car, because I was using it for my Fox Sports piece, and I was like, if you can't afford the big one, maybe you can get the RC car, and I didn't even know what your plans are for it.
Yeah, we have an RC car, which is a replica of the ice cream truck. Every detail, from the interior to the exterior to the hydraulics, and Red Cat is doing it. They're the ones famous for doing the 64 Impalas, 63 Impalas, and they're really to scale. I mean, the detail is incredible, and it actually does three-wheel motion, side to side, front and back. So, it'll be a bunch of adults playing with toys, and they'll be blaming it on their kids, but I know they'll be right there hitting.
Yeah, we were talking about that back over the Rockford booth as well, that at the end of the day, we're all just big kids. That's what brings us all to this show.
Yeah,
I had the drive on earlier. There were a bunch of old journalists that I've known for 20 years, and we all laughed about when we first started coming to this show years ago. We all came here for the same reason, right? We all love cars. We love the culture. We love the music. We love everything that this industry brings together. But now we're eating salads and going to bed at 9:30 to try and keep up with these young cats. It's been a crazy thing. Hey, I want to thank you so much. I know your schedule is completely jam-packed. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
And thank you for NEXEN to hosting us, allowing us to come out here and get some of these amazing people that have been such a great influence on me and the rest of the auto industry. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. There we go.